Going once, going twice. Is that you?
Hey guys, welcome back to Economics and Comics. So we're back. We saw Halloween. This is Joel and Mike from Gone with the Twins. I think you guys know them by now. Make sure to go to gonewiththetwins.com, leave a review. They would really appreciate it, and I really appreciate that they have been allowing me to go with them. I mean, it's...
Well, we appreciate you inviting us to do this.
Also, it gives us a different viewpoint. So,
So
when you mentioned leave a review, you mean leave a comment. All we need is just
I'm
a little
sorry.
comment.
Don't leave a review on their reviews.
We're doing the review. You just say.
Take a quick read on their review. Read it. It doesn't take long, and leave a comment.
Yeah.
And again, we're almost to 500. We're like 20 people away.
Congratulations!
I'm expecting
awesome.
that tomorrow.
Thanks to everybody for watching. That's great.
I will go to their house and I will have them pick out of the names. The dog is sneezing. Out of the names for the couple other giveaways that we have on their reviews on the Predator and Alien. So make sure, Alien?
Venom.
Sorry, Predator and Venom. Make sure to comment on those as well, so you get entered into the contest, and I'll bring all the names, and they'll pick the winners.
There's always great giveaways on this channel, and there'll be one at the end of this too. So
and they've been kind enough to bring some stuff to give away to you guys.
We'll go over those at the end.
At the end. Well, so let's jump right in with so my fear with this movie initially was, how do we make this franchise fresh and original after having so many entries? And this one in particular, so this one in particular is directed by David Gordon Green and written by some very interesting people, including Danny McBride, and of course John Carpenter, is credited with doing the original characters. But what's interesting about this is they are pretty much ignoring the existence of everything other than the first Halloween movie. So, which is fine in spirit. It's great that they want to be ambitious and do that. The problem is the public knows that the other ones exist. So how do you extricate all of this information from your brains? The Rob Zombie films and all of these sequels, including like Halloween 3, that have nothing to do with the regular storyline. It's difficult for the public to be able to distance themselves from the
movie
existence of
feels
things.
like both a sequel and a remake, but in a kind of a good way. It's there's not a real need for this movie to even exist, really. When you think about it, but because it exists and they're doing it and everybody likes to do remakes and
the need is
stuff.
money.
They did it well.
So for us, part of the draw was Jamie Lee Curtis. It's fun to see her. This is one of the films that made her shoot to superstardom anyway, or as a B-movie scream queen in the late 70s, early 80s. So it's fun to see her coming back to it. Although even that is not very much of a unique selling point, because she was in Halloween 2, she was in Age 20, and she was in Resurrection. I should shout out to fellow film critic Kevin Kittle, who mentioned, those are the 4 films she's in. He also mentioned that she dies or something in Halloween Resurrection. So they really have to ignore the existence of that. Even the fact that she's in those films, they have to ignore it.
Do they?
And she's playing the same character.
So I have a question. Since I haven't seen the Rob Zombie Halloween, do they acknowledge those in any way?
The other movies?
The Rob Zombie.
It's an origin.
So that nothing in those relate in any way to this, other than...
What, you're asking me?
Yeah, because you've seen them.
This is the biggest Rob Zombie Halloween fan there is.
So the Halloween, I love that movie, the Rob Zombie one, because it has him as a kid, and the strength and immortality of him in that movie.
Well,
is
there were a lot of things in this movie that I felt were
There's
homages or throwbacks to some of the other films.
Only Halloween 1. That's my... there's lots of parts that you...
Yeah, I think part of that is because of the repetition of this series. This film, the original Halloween from 1978, kind of invented the slow stalking killer, which is so effective in a lot of horror movies and serial killer movies and things like that. So even though this franchise kind of really, that's their claim to fame, is the creation of this horror movie approach, you just still get a lot of repetition. So even in here, when you're watching it, even though there's a whole slew of deaths in here, and they're not all the same. Some are with knives, some are with hammers. They use different things. Characters die in different ways. But every time you witness a death, it's not terribly original, because
there's
again,
only so many instruments with which you can kill
some
someone.
of the deaths you see and you think, oh, I saw that. It might have been in one of the Halloween films. It might have been
there are a lot
of the Friday the 13th
one.
films or something like that. So it's difficult to create a really unique approach
but I feel
to,
like
to
some
a death
of it
scene. Anyway.
was an homage to the original.
It was.
Not,
Oh, yeah, for
not
sure.
necessarily
For sure.
specifically just, we've
they
seen
do,
that killing before.
They do some very
accidentally.
clever things with, the idea of him appearing in the background, just kind of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really fun shots where characters are doing something in the foreground, and here in the background you see Michael Myers just kind of walk past the screen, or he's just standing back there. That menacing stalking thing is, and that's fun. But
this movie is violent, but I feel like it's not so over the top that it's just gruesome for gruesome's sake and great.
Yeah,
they actually have a little bit of fun with it. I think
there's a restraint, particularly at the beginning of the film. It takes almost 40 minutes before you get the first really graphic death scene or violence scene.
I like that. I like the slow burn.
It's so
it's not
unique
really slow
in
burn,
modern
it's
horror.
slow-ish.
In modern horror, it's so unique to have a slow burn film because nowadays most people, it's always about getting right into it. Your opening scene, your opening scene is going to be a cold open. There's going to be death. There's going to be slaughter. The first like 30 minutes of it is an anticipation. It's a build. It's that slow.
Yeah,
slow
they're
burn.
creating an atmosphere so that when they
Which
start showing
again,
you the
you
violence, it's
you
more
rarely
thrilling.
see that in action films nowadays, in superhero films, in horror films. The opening scene is usually the catch. It's the person running and screaming and getting killed by something, and it's to draw you in. This one draws you in with the old school style of let's create an atmosphere, let's create a tone, let's introduce some characters, and kind of get it under your skin.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I'm not a film critic, but that's why these guys are here. But I mean, that first 30 minutes as well is catching you up.
Yes,
It's
for sure.
a catch up from Halloween 1. I mean, Halloween 2, like they were telling me earlier, leads into right after Halloween 1. And what's interesting is they're right, because right after Halloween 1, Halloween 2 picks up.
Yeah.
But they're trying to say that takes place after Halloween 1, 40 years later.
Yeah, yeah.
But so they have to catch you up on what happened in those 40 years. And none of the other movies mean anything.
Yeah.
Halloween 1 and this. And I like that.
Yeah.
And I thought
Well,
it was
and
good.
they reshot. So there's
All the
there's
scenes.
no so they redo some scenes so that it's up to date. There's none of this flashbacks to the old grainy 1978 film. You get some of the.
There was one.
Was there one in there?
Yeah.
See, I thought they
When they
reshot
talk
it all.
about and I don't think this is a spoiler at all. His first kill when he killed his sister in Halloween 1.
Oh, see, I thought that was a completely redone version.
I thought it was too, and then I really looked at it, and I
You
think
that's
it is
the original footage? Really?
And I
See,
can tell
would-
you
I would
why,
not
but
have-
I don't want to say that.
I
on the
would not
channel.
have guessed that. Anyway, that's something that
I think
we
I
can
just saw
we
it.
can kind of look up. That's an interesting
Yeah.
trivia point, is to find out if they
And
reshot that or not.
And they have a lot of shot backs at one,
Yes.
certain scenes. I don't want to spoil it because it makes it funny. Where it's not him, it's another character, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of clever. So there's a lot of jump scares in this film. Probably 30 minutes in, after you get all the setup out of the way and some of the character development, then you just start getting jump scare after these great boom moments.
I feel like they didn't overdo it though.
No,
There's a lot of deaths that happen off screen. There's a lot of
Yes.
deaths that aren't super in your face. A little bit more subtle. So
It's
I
not like a
appreciate that.
paranormal activity where you're scared to death every second. What's going to happen
Yeah.
next?
Yeah,
You
there's-
kind of can predict.
and they kind of play with that. Psychologically, there's a lot of scenes where the setup, you know where it's going, you know exactly who's going to pop out when, and so because of your expectations for those moments, they can kind of toy with you. They can delay something to where it builds up a little bit of extra tension, or they can rearrange where the characters are.
It's a little more interesting to show maybe the aftermath of the violent act rather than the actual act.
Yeah,
and
and
they do
they're-
that a little bit.
Not to say that there aren't violent.
Right,
acts.
and this is a
violent.
hard R film, so don't bring the kids to this one. But
I do want to say one thing that I realized, and what I noticed, I thought was, most movies now, the horror and stuff like that, they're extremely gory and graphic. And I feel like this movie made an attempt to make it more realistic than ever before. I think
It's
if
a
there-
bit subdued in the violence. It's not just
but it's more
blood
like
everywhere.
an actual person killing people instead of some guy that is absolutely unstoppable.
yeah,
And the others, I don't know. I liked that though. It felt more realistic to me. That's
I
why-
mean, I still got a sense of his invincibility throughout the
it's
film,
there.
which is there. But he's Joel and I always joke about Steven Seagal and his films.
Could never be hit.
Every action scene, he never takes a hit. Like, you
funny.
see big, Stallone and Schwarzenegger and stuff. They take a bit of punishment, right, to show how tough they are. They take punches to the face and stuff. Stallone or Seagal. His moves, he blocks everything to where he never has a bloody lip. He never, and but so in this film, Michael Myers does take a few hits and punches
Oh,
and
he
stabs
takes
and
damage
things. Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. But of course, as anticipated, he gets back up. So
Yeah.
and that's. But I was pleased that as I was watching the movie, I didn't get bored of it. I didn't get this sense of this again.
One of the things
So
that kind of bugged me is that they have the new updated Halloween music, but then they also are using John Carpenter's original music.
All I heard was Carpenter.
Oh yeah,
I was
think
happy to hear it.
But they have the 2018 version of Halloween
so they
music.
add in electric
But then they
guitars
also
and
have
they
the
add
very
in,
old school original Halloween music, and that kind of bugged me. I feel like they should have just kept with the new, because this is they want to keep it's its own identity.
They're taking the theme music which John Carpenter created, but his was very primitive and on synthesizers, and this one they use some of that, and then they also do
use
the
heavy.
Did they
bass
move
angle
into
version.
that, or in the beginning?
Yeah.
I thought it was all original at the beginning.
Right.
It
So
is,
the opening title sequence, it's a throwback to the original.
And
Halloween,
that captured me
Yeah,
again.
yeah, and this movie obviously is made with fans in mind, so I think all of the references and
there
the
were
throwbacks
parts you
will
absolutely
please
despise.
fans.
Well, just like any other horror movie, it's just like the normal person that goes, "Why would you do that?"
Yeah,
And that's just I think that's part.
That's
of
one of the things I'll mention
But
in my review too.
The problem is though. I mean, I think that they all know about the basis of the story. Like,
yeah.
She's waiting. Is that a spoiler? I don't know. It seems like she's been waiting, just like any other movie. They're always waiting in the previews. If you saw them, she's waiting. She's been waiting for this day, and then stuff just seems so stupid to me.
Yeah,
it's like if you're waiting.
What I was going to mention is that this is the kind of movie that has audience members like yelling at the screen, like, "Oh, don't go in there!"
or at least thinking.
"Oh, don't!" and in the theater where there were people that were literally shouting out like, "Oh no!" Or "Oh, don't do that!" And I thought it's funny when a film gets people to have that physical reaction, that vocal reaction of yelling at the screen. I guess maybe you're doing something effective. In my mind, I agree with you. I think it's
the anticipation is done well. They're effectively using
it's a little aggravating because you definitely get scenes where a police officer will wander down a dark alley by himself, or you get the girl who will wander down there.
Everyone's stupid.
But
no weapons.
But who's to say that's not what audiences want to see?
Well, see, that's
They
my
do wanna see
question to you
those-
guys. That's my question to you guys. You know so much about film. Do you think they made it on purpose so you get upset about it?
Of course.
You would think in 2018, and this takes place now.
I feel like this movie is a more of a throwback to the originals.
There's so many different scenes.
It's so much more focus on that. So there's not this idea that we can't have the person that's about to get killed trip and fall. No, they can do that because that's what they're trying to emulate.
Yeah.
That's what I think I was saying.
So it's almost like they get away with saying, "Oh no, that's not us being lazy or silly. That's us purposely giving a nod to the original film." Yeah.
And at the same time to piss you off a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so
They have to
in
know.
almost every horror movie, there's manipulation. That's a major factor.
Sure.
And the more it gets under your skin, the more psychologically invested you are with the characters, the more they can manipulate you into having certain reactions. And
That makes sense.
horror above any other
That's
genre
one of the downfalls
is
I
about
felt with this
manipulation.
movie is that some of the characters, it feels like they introduce these characters and give them a backstory and make them feel like they're going to be important, and then they're just cast aside.
Yeah, it's
and not even necessarily that they're killed, but that we just never come back to them.
Yeah. So.
Well, come on, guys. I mean, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
There's two main characters.
But
the one that's
also,
going to live or die, and the
in
bad
this
guy.
film, I felt like in a lot of the other remakes, like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, even the villain is the hero. The villain is the one you're rooting for.
I was rooting for Michael too.
Yeah, but in this one, I felt like they tried to make a little more focus on the Strode family, and those are
sure.
supposed to be your heroes. And so Michael Myers, you're not like rooting. Oh, come on, Michael, kill this guy. I didn't feel like that as much.
Okay, well, yeah, I was rooting for the Strode family as well. But inside, I wanted Michael to kill everyone. And as gruesome as possible. And that one thing I didn't get, but I kind of appreciate it because they didn't go that route. It made it seem more realistic to me, like if an actual person was going and murdering people. And I hate to say that. I mean, that sounds horrible coming out of my mouth.
But that's what a lot of fans of these long-running horror franchises want out of the film is, at a certain point, like the Freddy Krueger, you've got 8 or 9 of those films. At a certain point, the human protagonist, nobody cares about. You just want to see Freddy Krueger kind of, and he's one of the more charismatic of the movie franchise villains. Michael Myers not so much because he never speaks and he doesn't have an expression and that kind of thing. But certainly fans come. Yeah, true. But fans come to expect there's a bit of fun for the slaughter, and there's it's kind of a shame, really, psychologically. You'd think humans should be, relating to the other human characters. Yeah, but that's kind of the maybe one of the interesting charms of horror franchises in general. Is that, I mean, when you look at like the Saw movies, is anybody rooting for the hero characters in that?
No,
you're waiting for people to get chopped up. So yeah, it's
If
commentary on society, maybe that's what fans want from these horror
That's
films.
what I was saying, though. That's what I was trying to say, and we're not trying to draw. I'm not trying to draw it out, but that's what I was trying to say is the movies are progressing in such a way that you want so much more violence in it because we're all numb to it. I'm numb to it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't jump at all.
Yeah,
I didn't jump at all. I was ready.
Such as the nature, and
I appreciate the way that some of it is subdued, though, because
That's
you don't
what I'm
want
saying.
over the top violence all the time, and
That's why I like it.
It numbs you even further while you're watching the movie if it's just violence after more violence and more violence, and then by the end you don't.
So early in the film when there are deaths that take place off screen, I think that's fantastic because by not showing it to you,
build up.
and it's all psychological. It's in your mind. You think more horrifying things than what they can show you on the screen. So by the time they actually get to the graphic gore, it's a contrast. You get a variation in the violence that you're seeing on the screen. And
there are some over the top moments. Certainly, some kills are like, well, that's so.
When you get characters who die and the audience laughs at it, that's.
Maybe
that's disturbing, but it's also
it's
indicative of the way they design these
What
scenes.
is wrong with you?
There is something wrong with me, and that's the whole point of being numb and But that's what I did take out of the movie the most is that I liked that it made it more realistic than out of control. There's definitely plenty of death. That's fine.
It is a violent film.
But for a horror movie in 2018, there's a little bit less death than you would probably expect.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. But I liked it. I mean,
I think it's a good balance of that. And again, we don't like to necessarily see just a bloodbath constantly. So a horror film in particular, when you've got a bit of a story, when you've got relatable characters, when you've got things working in your favor other than the violence, then it becomes more impactful.
The violence is supposed to be a shock.
Yeah.
And if they show too much all the time,
it should be a
there's
supplement.
no,
It should be a supplement to the other things going on screen. And if you just show nothing but nonstop violence, then you become desensitized to all of it, and then none of it stands out.
Yeah, none of it's effective anymore at that point.
Yeah. But so I guess the takeaway would be, if you're a fan of the Halloween series, this is right in line with the others. I don't know that there's a whole lot of surprises. I think a lot of people will be pleased but not blown away by what you see.
For big fans of the Rob Zombie Halloween, how do you think they'll appreciate this?
I think if you're a Halloween Michael Myers fan, it doesn't matter how you do it. It's all besides Halloween 3, every other one's just fine. But I don't know. I'm not a zombie guy. I like the way he made that movie. I really love that movie. I don't know why.
And a lot of people do like the 2007 Rob Zombie Halloween.
And then
I think
absolutely abhor his sequel.
Yeah, his sequel.
Yeah, but no, it's you guys will enjoy it. I think if you're a Mike Myers fan, of course you will. Even if it sucks, you're gonna like it. So, I mean, but look forward to it. I think it'll be fun and it's perfect timing.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot of other slasher movies coming out at this time of the year.
Yeah, not that I know of.
We're actually getting a Halloween movie in time for Halloween.
That's what I'm saying. It's perfect timing. I got my little thing out here. This guy right here. So yeah, I think if again go to their site, gonewiththetwins.com.
Gonewiththetwins.com.
Check it out. They got all types of fun stuff on there. And they had something that they wanted.
Oh yeah, we've got a giveaway.
Some giveaways. So we've got. I don't know if you can see this. There's a glare. There's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This is a limited edition steelbook with limited edition art.
Blu-ray steelbook.
Steelbook.
God, I love that one. I love that movie.
The Fly. This is the classic Cronenberg
that's so
Fly.
good too.
It's also a limited edition steelbook. These all are by the same artist. And Child's Play, one that I've always.
Number 1.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Every single one of those is. The Fly and Child's Play I mean, our class.
Well, we didn't pick any losers. These are.
But I love Killer in
Well,
Christina.
Killer Clowns is-
Christina, she hates this movie.
Oh yeah, so we watched that the other day because I hadn't seen it in a long time.
It's
and
hilarious.
Of these three, it is the weakest link. There's
Yeah.
there's some great character designs. We should probably do a review of it
It's
one
tough.
of these.
That would be fun to go back and do something. So,
But anyway, so these are some great films on Blu-ray steelbooks with really cool art. And did you want to post how to do the?
I think we're gonna. We'll
later?
have 3 winners. I think.
how about we just do this, guys? You watch this video, give me a like, share it, whatever. Go over to gonewithtwins.com. See how many. I'm not going to do a subscriber thing on this one. Send some comments on their site, and they'll randomly pick 3 winners from you guys.
Yep.
We'll give it a couple days or whatever, and see how well it does, and that's it. But yeah, I had a great time. Thank you again for taking me to the movie.
Oh,
Thanks
thank you for
for,
inviting
I
us
love
back
Michael.
here. For
I was going to get a mask and scare the hell out of you guys, but I decided not to. So, but yeah, thanks so much. Check them out, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah,
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye bye.